I like to do a thorough autopsy on your harvest with a bow and arrow. And I do this to educate the people that are heavily inundated with a lot of theory. Some of it's completely off track. On that video where my antelope, as I say my antelope, it wasn't my antelope until I shot it. When that antelope was standing there broadside, it was standing there at 40 yards, and I can only imagine how many people was saying, "Shoot, shoot, shoot." Well, as I stated in the video, with my busy work schedule this year, I knew I didn't feel comfortable with a 40-yard shot. Yes, I know there are people out there that can make a 40-yard shot. I've made them in my lifetime. But as you stretch that shot out, you also are stretching the odds of unfavorable results. Now, you're going to argue about that. I understand that, because Americans argue about apple pie, whether you should pray in school or whatever. So there's always going to be argument. But I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that. I let that animal come closer to me, and each step my confidence level would rise. Now naturally, as it's coming, there's no shots. And I want the youth of this channel, this is a learning channel, not a what would I call that? This is not a pro staff channel. This is reality 101. Now, as that animal encroached closer to me, my confidence rose. Not that you can't screw a 20-yard shot up. I've been known to do that. That's why I like to get them as close as you can. Now, the argument is a lot of people can stand at a 3D course and they can stand there for what it seems eternity and launch an arrow at a styrofoam target at 40 yards or 50 yards or whatever and walk away with their chest puffed out and their eagles as high as a hot air balloon. That's fine, that's styrofoam. These animals, that pronghorn antelope, are the fastest animals on North America continent. 2 steps, 60 miles an hour. I don't care what gimmickry you try to shoot at them, they can still beat it if they want to. Plus, you always got a wind that's always present out in Wyoming. What I'm getting at, and I want to demonstrate this, here is the results. When that animal quartered away, as it was walking away from me at 15 yards, this 100-grain muzzy went in, you want to shoot from between the 3rd and the 7th rib. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And entered into the thoracic cavity. That's where the lungs and the heart lie. The thoracic cavity. It's in front of the diaphragm. Anything behind the diaphragm is the abdominal cavity. A lot of people don't know that. Now inside the thoracic cavity lies these 2 or 3 organs. The left lung, the right lung, and the heart. They are in a negative vacuum, which means there's no air pressure in there, so that these lungs can expand freely and effortlessly. Once you poke a hole into the thoracic cavity, the outside air pressure is greater, it rushes in, and it will collapse the lungs, deflate them, because they cannot be in, the air pressure is greater, and it deletes the negative air pressure in the thoracic cavity. Now, as I've stated before, there's a mediastinal membrane that runs from the bottom of the brisket to the top of the spinal cord. If you break that mediastinal membrane, it will collapse both lungs. It hooks on at the heart sac, runs up to the top. One lung will stay in a negative vacuum. The other lung, once its side's been punctured, will collapse regardless of the size of the broadhead or whatever, because the outside air pressure will run in and collapse it. I had a collapsed left lung. It was painful as hell. I fell off a hay truck, rib went in, punctured my left lung. I did not die. My left lung deflated. All that air was in my thoracic cavity, could not escape. You can't fart that out, you can't belch it out. It's underneath your skin. So I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about deflated lungs. As this arrow entered back at that quartering away shot, and as Fred Bear always stated, shoot for the far shoulder. It exited out the left side, entered on the right side, going forward. Exited out the left side. That's what Fred always stated. Shoot for the off leg. This would have been the off leg. And as you notice, where it just clipped the back of the scapula, right there. It did a little blood clotting, and it took a little, right there it took some of the, as you can see, the bone, it was chipped away right there. Right there, that got chipped away by the Muzzy 100 grain 3-blade broadhead. That's why it's really critical if you can get that quartering away shot, because it's going to, like I say, that arrow passed completely through. It was like this. It chipped that scapula on the way out and passed behind. Now, a lot of people, when they see the scapula or the shoulder, they assume it's all bone. Not so. This is the bone. What you're seeing on the crease is muscle. If I had more muscle, this is not bone. It's muscle on the bone. Embarrassingly, that's not much muscle anymore at 67 years old. So when you see that crease, you're not looking at the bone. There is room to pass through that without penetrating the scapula. So, like I said, when you see the crease, you're not looking at bone on the scapula or the foreleg. You're looking at muscle. That gives it a lot bigger mass than what you're looking at. But it did clip the scapula right there, passed completely through, as you've seen on the video. I wished I could have got better impact shot, but it's really hard to do that filming yourself. The antelope came toward me. I moved the camera out the front window of the blind, and basically I never did focus it or anything, so it was just on weeds. But then I was in a blind spot. The antelope turned around with that little buck and decided to walk away and gave me a perfect quartering away broadside shot. Now, some are going to argue, because that's American spirit or American ideologies anymore. There's always an argument. I have a book right here. You can pick this up. Deer Hunting and Deer Hunting, book number 3 by Robert Wagner. And they studied what was better. There had been a Miss Gail Westcott conducted dead deer searches, and after the hunt and performed autopsies on them to determine the shot location, mortality, and to estimate potential survival. She reached these conditions. Shots would hit a deer. Now this is important for all you skeptical people. I didn't write this. You can buy the book. It's in the book. Shots which hit a deer in a broadside position tend to be more scattered over the deer. This supports the idea that large targets induce a scattered pattern of shots. Regardless of where the deer was hit in a broadside position, and this is really important, regardless of where the deer was hit in a broadside position, 56% of those hit resulted in unrecovered deer. Broadside, 56% of them were unrecovered because of the scattering. 81% of the deer in a quartering away position resulted in retrieval of the animal. I didn't write that. I'm reading it to you from this book. You can buy the book and read it yourself. Like I say, I've studied that. A quartering away shot is far more lethal than taking a 40-yard broadside shot. I would take a 15-yard quartering away shot any day over that broadside shot. For the simple fact is they've done studies on it. Broadhead size. A lot of people want to put these gaping holes with these expandable 2.5 inch. It was studied. It did not put any more. It did not matter the size of the broadhead. Shot placement with the 100 grain 1 inch muzzy put just as much blood on the ground as something that expands to 2 inches. Okay, you can see in these lungs, this would be the path it chose, so you can see the devastation. It went up through there. There was a channel. Bear with me. I just had it. Pretty hard. Went right through there. And there you go. The perfect double lung hit. Maybe not quite as perfect as some, but you got to remember, you're shooting level on the ground. As you can see right there. It went right through both lungs. In and out on the ground. This broadhead clipped that scapula right there. You can see where it went right through it, hitting the far shoulder, shooting for the far shoulder. The deer ran approximately 75 to 100 yards and fell over dead. What I'm trying to emphasize is some of this new trickery that they want with the gaping holes that look like they got hit with an axe and all that doesn't mean anything. This little 100 grain, 1 inch wide, muzzy broadhead has proved itself time and time again. And the other aspect about this, and keep in mind, I'm not promoting this, I'm just telling you fact, Jack. Here is a new advertisement I just got in the mail. Here's what's really intriguing. At your local big box store, muzzy 100 grains, $29.97 for 6 of them. With 6 of them. Can't count. There, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a half a dozen. Anyhow you count it. For $29.97. This hypodermic, so-called cut on impact, $49.99 for 3. That doesn't give you, that's $100 for 6 muzzies when you can get 6 for $29.97. Do the math, folks. Here's the results. Quartering away, in and out, right through it. You seen it dead, no trickery. Why on heaven's earth would you want to pay $100 for 6 broadheads that if you shoot them once, they're junk? Because you'll never get arrow flight out of them. If I shoot these muzzies, I can buy replaceable tips for around 16, or not tips, but blades. Put them on, I still got the broadhead for another $16. Why am I doing this? To educate you people. Because there's so much product and so much BS, and there's so much blow staff people out there today trying to blow smoke and enhance their own personality. I'm not running for political office, and I'm not running away from the truth. I'll stand my ground and preach this to you because I am trying to help you cut through this maze of nothing but pure bullshit. As it's stated in the book, the quartering away shot is far better, had a far greater recovery rate than the broadside shot. Whether you guys with your pro staff shirts and your long stabilizers and your egos buy into that, that's irrelevant to me. Fact is fact, Jack. And the reason I'm doing that, like I said, is to get the confusion away from beginning hunters. You don't got to go out and buy $50 broadheads when you can buy $30 broadheads and get twice as many and have as much fun, and you're not costing you an arm and a leg. Anyhow, just remember, the quartering away shot goes in, out, you can take out both lungs through the thoracic cavity. And the other thing about it, the bigger the head, I had one of those trickery heads laying around here. I don't have it now. That went right between the bones. It did slice this bone. It broke this bone and still penetrated it. But if you had this particular head, it's going to hit a tremendous amount of bone, which is going to slow it down, burn up a lot of kinetic energy, and probably not get a complete pass-through. So yeah, you might have a gaping hole on one side, but it didn't get through the other side, because once you start hitting bone of that dimension, you are definitely slowing the penetration down. I've shot clear through bull moose with this size head. Bigger the animal, I found that this head was exceptional. It flew straight and it took out both lungs of the moose, whereas when you're shooting this, heads that expand from this to that, you notice on a lot of these TV shows, the deer runs away with the arrow hanging out of it because it's stuck in the bones and it didn't get out because it lost so much kinetic energy once it hit. So, for you people that are beginning and you want the most lethal heads, go with something like this Muzzy 100 grain. Like I said, I'm not running for political office. I'm not looking for financial gain. I'm just trying to show you real time. And I know damn well that you don't see this on any television show. They don't tell you anything about it other than run to the local big box store and buy what they did. These lungs don't lie. This rib cage don't lie. And this god dang guy standing in front of you called the non-typical Norwalkian ain't gonna stand up here and lie to you either. So I hope that answers some questions why I didn't take that broadside shot and why you let him walk closer. If it walks away, so it be. There's another day. So anyhow, that's it from the non-typical Norwalkians rant. Like it or not, I'm just telling you fact, Jack. You're going to do whatever you're going to do. But if you have poor results, you're going to remember this video. Quartering away shot. Tremendously better. Matter of fact, I find my book. Let me get my book up there. Why I close. I'm going to drive this point home. The quartering away shot had 81, regardless of where the deer hit broadside, 56% of them resulted in unrecovered deer. The quartering weight shot, 81% were recovered. So what would that be? Basically, you'd have 80, it would be 20, 19% may not got recovered. That's far greater success than your 56% that won't recover it on a broadside shot. Like it or not, I didn't write the book. You can buy the book. Like I said, it's Deer Hunting Book 3 by Robert Wagner. He put it in text. You want to buy the book, you can read it yourself. Just remember that. So, when you go to the field, I hope that helps you cut through some of the BS that's out there. Well, that's it from the Non-Typical Noah Walk-Ins Laboratory.